Joaquin Rodriguez, incidentally, chose the rest date to announce he is retiring at the end of the season, which would be an emotional moment at any time, and was perhaps more so because Andorra is his home. And the race is still in Andorra for the first 28 kilometres today, just long enough to take the riders over the highest peak of the whole race, the Port d'Envellera. It's mostly a downhill chase from there, with an intermediate sprint at 122.5 kilometres and a nasty little climb 7 kilometres from the finish, the Côte de Saint-Ferréol, which could determine whether there's a bunch finish and who's.
Well, the only riders who never won a stage of the Tour de France in this breakaway are the two riders in blue from Orica Bike Exchange. Unless you count the team time trial at Nice a couple of years ago. And here goes Daryl Impey. He's gone to the right of the road. Now it's up to Sagan again. Sagan quickly trying to get on, but he's having to fight for this one. Matthews holds on to the wheel of the world champion. They're doing exactly the way it should be done. Yes, Sagan is up for it.
3 kilometres to go, Phil. Did you see the confidence, though, of Peter Sagan? He will respond to everything. He knows he's not going to get any help from any quarter in a breakaway situation like this, and he says, right, any move that goes, it's got to be me. I have to nail it back, which is why I think all of a sudden maybe Orica Bike Exchange are not feeling that confident with Michael Matthews, and that's why they're throwing these attacks. If Michael Matthews has got anything in the engine room, he maybe has to take the risk this far out from the finish line to also try and surprise Peter Sagan.
I think Impey is doing everything. He's the perfect teammate here. He's trying to force reactions from everybody. Matthews is really in the armchair here, and he's waiting for his moment. It's a long, straight finish. Michael Matthews never has won an individual stage of the Tour de France. Here he goes again, and Sagan this time has seen him coming, and he's accelerating a little bit quicker.
Well, you know, all of a sudden, Peter Sagan, you might not have noticed there, he was just about to take on board a little bit of food, and that was the moment when Daryl Impey thought, I've got this, I'll just try and surprise Peter Sagan, but it didn't happen. Sagan is so alert. I tell you, Phil, this is probably one of the most difficult ones to call.
I can't remember we've ever commentated on a sprint like this. It is amazing. And we're waiting for the man that lays down the foundations. Meanwhile, back in the peloton, they're all asleep. 8 minutes, 11 seconds now. Let's get back up front. Day off for the yellow jersey. That'll be another day tomorrow for him.
Well, we talked about, Phil, the return match of the World Championships between Peter Sagan and between Michael Matthews. What about the return of the sprint last year when we went to the finish in Rodez between Greg Van Avermaet and Peter Sagan? That was a very difficult uphill finish, and the man wearing number 98, well, he came out on top on that occasion.
And he's done nothing. He's watched everybody so far. He's gambling on the others' tactics. And watch out for Greg Van Avermaet. He is a very strong rider on brilliant form. Remember, 3 days in the lead in this race, and had an excellent win on the lower mountains when we started on day 4 of the Tour. There he is, waiting. I would certainly not write him off pulling out the big one.
Well, he's also taken up at last position in this group, and the reason for that is so he can keep a very close eye on everybody else. If he starts to see it's looking dangerous and a move comes, he'll be right on top of it. He moves back up to the wheel there of Samy Dumoulin, the diminutive French sprinter there, and there is the final kilometre. And still, we can't put a name onto the man who's going to be the fastest out of this group.
Well, Daryl Impey has now decided he's going to pace the riders to the home straight by the look of it. We've got a little right and a left, or left and right, I can't remember anymore. Oh, it's a right and a left. And then we have a lovely straight line to the finish. Sagan sitting on the back wheel of an Orica Bike Exchange rider. And look at the face of Michael Matthews. He is licking his lips here. Now we're lining up for the finish as we start to go down towards the line itself. Another perfect day for Daryl Impey as the brilliant domestic teammate he is for the squad. Sagan knows where the trouble lies, and it's right on his back wheel here, and he's trying to anticipate when Matthews breaks for the line. I suspect Matthews will go when Sagan's face comes forward. There he goes, Van Avermaet at the back, and now Sagan saw it coming. Sagan tries to get in there. It's a very, very close finish here. Matthews is a bit boxed in. He's going to have to try and come on the left. Sagan's taken Matthews' wheel now as Michael Matthews gets the victory. Well, if you've got 3 riders in the breakaway, you should get the win. But that was a perfect finish by Orica Bike Exchange, and in particular by Michael Matthews.
Well, you talk about a nail-biter, and by the way, you might not have seen the average speed of the stage there, Phil. 45 kilometres an hour. Orica Bike Exchange, they put themselves right up there. Peter Sagan, well, he tried everything, but he was up against a team that did the job. And what about this man coming into the finishing line now? Durbridge, a smile all over his face, because he knows that having 3 men in that breakaway, they had to win the stage this afternoon, and he knows that he was part of doing the job this afternoon.
He'll be delighted when he hears the news as he comes up here. He's waiting to smile or cry. He doesn't know quite what it is yet. Now he smiles. Somebody's just told him. Luke Durbridge there, and the peloton still heading home. It'll be a while as we see there Fabian Cancellara at the front.
Well, that is the moment. As you can see, Luke Durbridge knows what has happened on the day, that his team, Orica Bike Exchange, have got themselves the victory that they were looking for. The main field chased for an awful long time. I mean, on the descent of the Col d'Onvalera, they came back to 30 seconds from the leading group of riders, but then eventually it opened out and it started to stretch. It came back to 3.5 minutes, but I think there just wasn't the firepower, there wasn't the will to organise the chase behind in the peloton, knowing that they've got a lot of hard races, a lot of strategic days on the horizon in this next week of the race. The Mont Ventoux beckons for the men who want to win this race overall. The 37.5 kilometre individual time trial, and for the sprinters, they probably feel a little bit more confident that tomorrow is the sort of day that suits them an awful lot better, because tomorrow we go into a sprinter's delight into the town of Montpellier. This is Damiano Caruso. He'll move up a fair amount in the overall classification, and it should theoretically as well put Team BMC Racing back on the top of the of the leader in the team competition. The man we wondered whether or not he could get himself the victory this afternoon, Sylvain Chavanel, well, he couldn't at the end of the day. He's coming in here with Mikel Landa.
Well, as we watch the riders come home,
yes, you go with my headband. We won the stage, boys. We won the stage.
That was Matt White abusing the car dashboard there, just in case the hire company is watching. No celebrations in the Dimension Data car today, though. Steve Cummings, who of course already has a solo win to his name, ended up soloing to 15th after losing out when Sagan took the brake and broke it.
You're going to try again, Steve? There are some opportunities between now and Paris.
Yeah, of course. Try every day, why not?
Got a stage in mind in particular?
No, just when I feel good I go.
Easy as that?
Well, it's not easy like you saw today.
Depends where you're riding. The width of the main field and the width of Chris Froome's grin told you all you needed to know about how easy it had been behind the day's escape. In the end, the 5 who sprinted for the win got the same time today. Daryl Impey, who did the final setup work, was given a 2-second gap, with Luke Durbridge, the third member of the winning team, at 1:10. The remains of the breakaway filled the rest of the top 10 places. The main field, including all the overall contenders and Mark Cavendish, although not Daniel McClay, was at 9:39. Well, his first Tour de France in 2014 turned out not to be his first Tour de France when he crashed before the team presentation. And 8th was the best he could manage last year on his delayed debut after another crash on stage 3, which of course made today all the sweeter for Michael Matthews.
It's unbelievable. The emotion at the moment, it's just sinking in. I actually just won a stage of the Tour de France after two really bad years of this race, and yeah, I was really close to giving in on this race. I just thought this race maybe is not for me. I'd maybe just focus on other races. But yeah, today my dreams came true. It was never the plan to go in the breakaway. We were hoping to have a bunch sprint in the finish after that hard climb coming into the final. But yeah, we have such a strong group of guys here, and the way that we work as a team, whoever's up on that day, we give that rider 110%, and you could see Luke Durbridge and Darryl Impey today. They gave me their everything, and it's just no words.
Unusually, no words from Peter Sagan either after he retook the green jersey. We were snubbed by the team for our dismal failure to attend their rest day press conference. Mark Cavendish was grateful to have been left alone yesterday and spoke to Daniel.
You were pretty pessimistic about your chances of stopping Peter Sagan in the points competition. It's panned out exactly as you expected.
Yeah, exactly like that. It's not even them stage, it's not even the finishes really, because obviously tomorrow, in the stage finish, it's likely that I'll get a load of points back. It's just them intermediates when he gets 20 and we don't, like I said would happen the whole time. There's nothing you can do. Like, at the end of the day, we're not talking about any old rider, we're talking about Peter Sagan, so you can predict it from the beginning that's going to happen. So I'm actually happy to have had the green for as long as I had it.
So Great Britain's jersey count drops from 3 to 2 as Adam Yates holds on to white after a day in which the top 10 didn't change at all. About as comfortable as it gets for the yellow jersey, whose trickiest test of the day was facing Matt Rendell.
Chris, well, that turned out to be straightforward enough, but there was a puff of wind, and suddenly there you were behind Ian Stannard, Kirienka, Geraint Thomas, Luke Rowe. What a team. You must feel pretty comfortable in the hot seat there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was talk of a little bit of crosswind coming into the last 30 Ks there, so you could see the whole peloton getting nervous behind. But again, the guys did a great job just keeping me up front, just in case things were to kick off. We were right there and pretty much ready for it if it did happen.
And for the man that everyone's looking at, with all that pressure on your shoulders, you seem pretty relaxed today. There were a number of times we saw you laughing. On the finish line, you leant over and had a word with Richie Porte.
Yeah, I mean, this is the dream. This is what it's all about, to be in yellow, and it's a pretty special feeling. I'm going to soak it up and enjoy it while I'm here.
Can you already see Mont Ventoux on the horizon? That's already figuring large in your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow we're hoping for another similar kind of day like today. Just another day we can tick off and get through, hopefully without too much happening. But then, yeah, Ventoux is definitely the next big thing we've got our sights on now.